November sewing plans. I have a lot. So first up on the pile that I have in front of me is the fabric for the Vogue 9076 sew along, which I will be getting out to you very latest early December, but I'm hoping by the end of this month. It's scheduled for one of the last Fridays in November. I had a bunch of fabrics up for a vote on Patreon, and the Patreon peeps picked this one, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's a viscose, and it's kind of one of those interesting viscoses that it has a very summery print, but because of the background color, I do think it's totally acceptable for the cooler months. The very lovely Anna gave me this as a birthday Christmas present, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So thank you very, very much to Anna. I don't know where she got it from, so I can't link to it, I'm afraid. This is absolutely beautiful. The 9076, I have added a bunch of piping details to that pattern to give some interest, because there are some really interesting style lines and panels in that pattern that I didn't think stood out in my first iteration, so I added piping to the next two, and I think I've achieved the correct level of piping with the last one. So I am going to be making some piping from this fabric for this one. I think it picks out the pinks from the flowers and the leaves really nicely, and I think it's going to give a really interesting pop of colour. I do have some rust coloured fabric this colour that I could use, and I did use as piping in the last iteration, and I do think that could look good because it would be much more subtle and it would be very understated but would still highlight the lines, and I'm not 100% ruled that out yet, but I do think that this one will be very kind of striking. So I'm pretty like 80% sure I'm going to use this one, but I might do a little test with some of the offcuts of the fabric once I've cut the pattern pieces out, and I have got some spare piping left over from the last one, so it might end up being this rust. We shall see. There might be another vote coming out. We shall see. But thank you very much to the Patreon peeps for picking this particular fabric. I absolutely love it, and thank you very much to Anna for sending it to me. Very much appreciated. So the one thing that I didn't manage to get done from last month's plans, which if you would like to check that out what they were, I will link that video up here, was the turquoise lace dress. This lace dress. Now I had planned to do this La Carla pattern with it, and I absolutely love La Carla patterns. I've used them very, very frequently, especially when I was making commissions for other people. I ordered this one about 6 years ago though, and I have changed in size and shape quite a lot since then. So I'm really glad that I made up a second muslin, because I did not like how this one looked on me. There were so many tweaks and changes that needed to happen to this one for me to be happy with it, that I've decided to go down a different route and use the Butterick 6380 from Gertie. Now I absolutely love that pattern. As you guys know, I have done a full review for it here. I've made more since. I'm going to continue making it. The bodice itself is gorgeous. I absolutely love the different looks that you can get by putting on different sleeves. I'm going to use the La Carla sleeves from the La Carla pattern, the little kind of like cap sleeves, because I want to do the kind of scalloped edge of this lace on the sleeves and the neckline, although I'm thinking I might cut the eyelashes off of the neckline and just have the scalloped edge along the neckline, because I think the eyelashes might that's what I'm calling them. I've heard other people call this eyelash lace, but I think they might annoy me. But I would like kind of like the scalloped edge all around the front, the scalloped edge there, and then also the scalloped edge along the bottom. I'm going to compare the pattern pieces, but I think I'm still going to use the skirt from the 5951, which was the original plan, because this 6380 skirt I don't think is quite as long. So it's going to be interesting cutting this out and making it up. I'm also going to eliminate the centre back seam from this dress and make it an underarm side zipper, because I think that will just make the lace look more seamless, because it will be no seam along the back as well as the front. So I think a side zipper as well. Not overly sure how I'm going to handle the overlay of the lace skirt, because obviously I want to, lots of people have said I can cut the scallop off and sew it on later. That's a possibility. I might cut the skirt pieces of the lace as rectangles and pleat them down at the waist, but I don't want to add extra bulk, and I am using a my skin tone satin underneath to give the Nude Illusion dress kind of thing. So I'm going to play around with it. Might end up cutting the scallop off, like I say, and just hand sewing that on later. Might end up not doing that, we shall see. I will research, but I would really like to get this done this month. I know this pattern fits me, so it's just going to be working with a kind of like interesting edge detail and just tweaking the pattern in those little ways that I've mentioned. So yeah, looking forward to getting this one done. Then I have some of my turquoise denim fabric that I got from Lady McCalls during their remnant sale after last Christmas. I have about 3 meters of this and I really like this color. I think I would like to go back to my slopers and my moulage and have a play around with that and try and recreate the Holston skirt that I made last year, or you might have seen the video at the beginning of this year. I loved that thing. It was bonkers, and it is a bonkers kind of like construction, but I do think if I try and draft this myself from my skirt block that I will get a better fit over the waist and hips with the flare where I want it. And I think I can add in a centre back seam, because the seams in this skirt, you ended up with the fullness coming from your crotch on your butt, which I did not like, but when I turned it to the side so it had a side zipper in it, I really liked how it looked. It would be really easy to add a centre back seam so that I could put a centre back zip in as well, which would mean that I could French seam all of the annoying right angles, because you can do that. I've tried it before, it does work, and that would give me the finish that I like on the inside as well as the fit that I want on the outside. So that is the plan for this one. And I also want to try tweaking my sloper into a waistcoat that I like. I have made a lot of waistcoats, none of which I still have. Mum has most of them because they don't fit me quite right. I got excited, the pattern pieces were small, they fit onto the side when you're cutting out like trousers or skirts, and so I cut out a bunch. The 5193 and the 6013, I think. I will put pictures of the patterns I'm talking about on screen. I love both of these and I think they're absolutely gorgeous, but I don't think I've got the fit right on either of them. I didn't lengthen either of them. The waist is in the wrong place. There's not enough fullness over the top of my hips, so it bunches. So I want to try drafting my own from my sloper, and I have ideas. I've been watching a lot of Bianca because of course I have. I am a patron of hers as well. She was definitely the one that inspired me to start making my moulages and slopers and blocks. I did the skirt, I've done the bodice. I kind of got stuck because I don't overly like the manipulation techniques that the route that I went down was recommending. The dart points were literally finishing on the apex, and they were in all the manipulations. They didn't back the darts off at all, and I've tried that and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. But for what I want to try this month, I want princess seams, and that worked really well. So I'm going to try princess seams and we'll see how it goes for the waistcoat. And I also want to put in a waist seam, because one of my complaints with my waistcoats is that they skim and they don't cinch. And I know they're an overgarment, I know they're a laying piece, but for the way that I like to wear clothes and want to get dressed, I want it to be really nipped in at the waist. So I'm going to do the thing that Bianca does and do the front panels completely in one piece past the waist, and then put a waist seam in all the way around the waist, all the other pieces, because it nips it in and it looks amazing on her, and I think I can do it. So that's the plan for this, is to recreate the turquoise Holston skirt and waistcoat look that I made earlier this year, except this time it's going to fit me really well and I'm going to keep it because both of those pieces have gone in the cull. I am going to be doing Vlogmas this year, which means daily waffling at you guys, which is going to be interesting. I always enjoy it. It's always a lot of work, but I would like to put out proper videos at the same time too. So I'm going to be doing some mini tutorials of different bits and pieces that I have wanted for myself for ages and just never gotten around to, because it's like, oh well, I haven't got time, or I should do this or I should do that. So I'm going to do these little projects this month in the hopes that I can film it all and then start editing it to put them out maybe weekly during Vlogmas, as well as Vlogmas itself. Nothing like being overly ambitious. These are quite quick projects, they are quite simple projects, and hopefully they should be fairly quick and simple if anyone else wants to follow them as a quick make for a present for somebody else in their life. The first one is a remake of this bag. This one's actually holding up really well. I'm really surprised how well this is holding up, and I use this bag every single day. It's my most used bag. Now I appreciate not everybody has a commute from the main house to the sewing shed in the back garden, and you might want a different kind of a bag, but for me this one has just been an absolute godsend, and I use it every single day. I did draft the pattern for it inspired by the Dior book totes, which are around about £2 and I cannot afford those. It didn't come out exactly like the Dior book tote. There's some top stitching that I just decided not to try because of the types of materials I'd used in this one, and I'm not going to be doing it on the second one either. But as I say, this is a bag I use every day. I'm really proud of it, so I'm going to be putting out the tutorial. I'm hoping it's going to be one of the first things that gets launched on my website as well, because I want to launch that in December and I need to make it. It's been a year, I haven't done it yet. I had nothing like biting off way more than I can chew. I've been working on it in the background, and there's pages that are kind of getting to where I want them to be, but yeah, I need to just knuckle down and give myself a couple of days to like get this thing done, because it doesn't need to be a work of art, it just needs to be there. So hopefully that will be the first tutorial on there. And I am going to use this butterfly tapestry that I got from one of the knitting and stitching shows that I went to. I think it was the last one that I went to. It's absolutely glorious, and Mum has very kindly let me have this from her stash as my lining fabric, which is like the perfect colour. I am going to embroider a nameplate. The fabric I used on this one is white corduroy, so I am going to be doing that again so that it does have the Kittenish Behaviour logo and stripe on it to kind of like echo the Dior tote. This fabric is actually a lot thicker than the other one that I've used, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of combination of stabilizers I need for it. But yeah, I'm going to be making that as a tutorial. And then the bottom of this bag always looks like this. This is all my tech, all my wires and bits and pieces that I need for my camera to make my camera work. Also got hard drive in there, my mini printer, my colour swatches, a ruler for some reason, a power bank, and my necklace that broke the other day. So there's, you know, this always ends up with this like layer of detritus at the bottom. I am fed up with that and having to root through. So I am going to be making the By Annie power trip bag. Now I'm not going to do a tutorial for that because there already is one and it's awesome, so I'm not going to do a tutorial for that, but I do want that little thing to put in there, as well as my laptop and then the laptop charger and my diary. That's, you know, that's the sort of thing that I carry up and down from the house. So yes, I'm going to be making the By Annie power trip cable management like tech organizing little pouch, and I'm hoping I can make a matching one, or at least use some of this to make it tie in and be matching with my outer bag. But it does say it needs 3/4 yard of the outer fabric, so it probably will only just be like a patch on the outside with the butterflies on it, but I'll make it tie in somehow. So I want to get that one done, and then I also want to make myself a pouch for my cutlery. I don't like using disposable plastic cutlery, so I bought myself a beautiful oil slick set which has straws, chopsticks, spoon, knife, fork, teaspoon, the lot, and the cleaning little straws and rods for the spoons, for the spoons for the straws as well. And it came in a velvet pouch, which was a great idea and looked beautiful until you'd used it, and then you need to take it home and wash it before you can, yeah. So I have got some, what is shower curtain fabric up there, but I'm going to make myself like a little pencil case, tiny little pencil case with a kind of waterproof fabric on a wipe clean fabric on the inside, pretty fabric on the outside, zip closes, because the velvet pouch that the cutlery originally came with was a drawstring, and I ended up with the cutlery, especially the straw and chopsticks, going all over the place. So I want to make myself one of those. I think that's a really nice gift to give to somebody as like a cutlery set. I think it's like it's a, what do you get for it? What do you get for the person who's got everything? That would be the sort of thing that I would want to give them. Every set that I've looked at comes with its own wipe clean carry case. I just seem to have bought the only one that didn't. So I'm not sure that anyone's going to actually need to do that, but it will work just as well as a pencil case, which I do actually also want to do, because my pencil case is huge and also thoroughly stained and discoloured from all the pens that have leaked on the inside of it. Now I do like this and I'm going to keep using this one, but I do want a slightly smaller pencil case. I use 4 coloured pens in my notebook and my planner, so to indicate different things. So I want a tiny little pencil case to go with my notebook so that I don't have to take this with me everywhere I go. This is an excessive amount of stationery and pens and pencils and bits and pieces to take with you everywhere you go. So yeah, I would like to make myself a little pencil case as well. If I could have it matching with the butterflies, that would be neat, but I don't think I have enough fabric for that. And then the final thing that I want to try and make during November as like a kind of like mini tutorial is a new makeup brush roll. My one is disintegrating. It's literally falling to pieces. Yeah, I've been saying that I'm going to make myself a new one for years now, and I've just never gotten around to it. So I thought, again, this would be a really good time to do it. I have the Wight clean fabric. I have like the outer fabrics that I want to use. It's a fairly simple project to do, so I am going to attempt to film a tutorial for it and get that up for you guys in December as well. And as if that wasn't enough, I have also somehow written the Sicily slip dress on my plans to make in November. I genuinely don't think I'm going to get to that one. It would be nice. I have lots of beautiful silks in my stash that I have bought with the theory that I'm going to make the Sicily slip dress up, and it is party season, so it is the kind of season that I would be wearing those kinds of dresses. So it's one of those ones that's there, and I do have some really nice polyester fabrics to try out, the first one, before I then cut into the cotton silk that the Peeps have voted for as my second attempt before I cut into the third and final iteration, which is a Vivienne Westwood inspired silk that I got from Spoonflower and I can't replace. So I have 3 that I have to make before I even start thinking about the D&G silks that I've got in the stash that have also been earmarked as Sicily slip dresses. So I would like to try and get to one of those. I'm not expecting to get 3, 4 or 5 of those done this month as well as everything else, but it would be nice to try and give a wearable muslin a try, because I do think it's the time of year that I might actually want to wear one of those kinds of dresses. So yeah, that's on the list as well, but that is the last thing on the list. That is the final thing on the list. I'm really excited. I think I can do it. I think that these projects are doable within the time frame that I've given myself. I'm not planning on sleeping, obviously. I do think this is an achievable list of projects to get done within the time frame that I have left in November. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below which one you are looking forward to seeing made up and why, and would you do anything different with any of these fabrics? Do you have a pattern that you think I should maybe switch one of the fabrics up to? Let me know. I would love to hear what you think. So if you've enjoyed this video, you might want to check out this one here.